Everything you know about OCD is a lie. It's not a disease. It's the hidden engine of human progress, and I'll prove it. Without it, we wouldn't have electricity, or aviation, or the theory of evolution. 3 men, we call them geniuses, but do you know what made them that way? It doesn't choose the weak. That's the first thing I want you to understand. Obsessive-compulsive disorder doesn't break ordinary minds. It simply doesn't notice them. OCD is not a disease of weakness. I am convinced it's the opposite, a disease of excessive power, aimed in the wrong direction. It is an architect, cold, patient. It finds a brain with open doors and enters. Nikola Tesla, New York, the 1930s. He doesn't eat breakfast. He executes a protocol. The table is always the same one. The distance from its edge to the wall is 9 feet, divisible by 3. He calculates the volume of the coffee pot before pouring, not because he wants to, but because if he doesn't, something inside begins to tighten, slowly, like a vise with no handle, and it won't release until the error is corrected. At the next table, a woman. Around her neck, pearls, 7 beads. Tesla knows the count without counting. His brain did it on its own, without permission. 7, not divisible by 3. He knows the chemical composition of nacre, knows that what's in front of him is simply calcite. But the knowledge doesn't help. He looks away, but the image stays on his retina. 7 white spheres. 7. Error, error, error. He returns to his room, 3 steps across the threshold, washing his hands 18 times. Not 17, not 19, 18. Because 18 divides by 3, by 6, by 9. The skin on his palms burns like acid until the counter locks on the right number. And then, instantly, like a current switched off, he can breathe. This is his world. Every minute, every day, no days off. His brain can't filter the creak of a floorboard down the hall, and can't filter the faint electromagnetic signal another engineer simply won't notice. It's the same trait, the same open channel. And here is what I believe matters most. The disease and the gift are identical, seen from opposite sides. He couldn't turn off the noise, but he could find, beneath its surface, a clean, cold, absolute order, physics. The only place where the world didn't make mistakes. He spent his entire life there, and from there, he gave us electricity. Howard Hughes, Los Angeles, 1947. A different brain, the same disease, a different language. Hughes wasn't afraid of the number 3. He was afraid of germs. More precisely, I would say he didn't fear them. He saw them, not hallucination. Simply, his brain could not draw a line between a real threat and an imagined one, because the instrument that draws that line, prefrontal filtering, didn't work in him the way it worked in others. He could stand at a sink for hours, could wrap his hands in paper towels before touching a door handle, could issue 4 pages of written instructions on how to open a can of food to minimize surface contact. 4 pages for a tin of food. But the same brain that couldn't tolerate touching an unsterile surface couldn't tolerate technical imperfection either. A vibration in an engine that another pilot wouldn't hear, he heard it. Play in a mechanism that another engineer would pass as acceptable, he never passed it. Acceptable didn't exist for him. There was only precise and imprecise. His aircraft were perfect, and I want to be clear about why. Not because he was talented, but because he physically could not stop until it was exact. The same force that kept him at the sink kept him at the drafting table. One force, one source. Global aviation advanced by a decade as a side effect of one man who could not tolerate imperfection. He died in an aircraft, exhausted, weighing 93 pounds, alone. The disease took back what it was owed. Charles Darwin, Down House, Kent, the 1840s. A third brain, the same disease, a third language. Darwin didn't ritualize numbers. He ritualized information. Every observation went into a list, Every list was numbered. Every argument was weighed against its counter-argument in writing, because if not in writing, they never stopped inside his head. They circled round and round, again and again. His brain refused to close a question without sufficient data, but sufficient never arrived. He studied barnacles for 8 years. 8! Because he could not release a book with incomplete data. Because the fear of error, not metaphorical, but physical, signaling like pain, stopped him every time he approached a final point. He published On the Origin of Species only when Wallace independently arrived at the same theory, and Darwin understood that delay had become more dangerous than an imperfect text. This is not indecision, I am certain of that. This is a symptom, a brain that cannot tell itself enough because the mechanism for stopping is broken. That same broken mechanism drove him to build an evidentiary foundation so massive it hasn't been overturned in a century and a half. He rewrote our understanding of life on Earth out of fear of making a mistake. Now look around, the light burning in your room, the plane carrying you above the ocean at 35,000 feet, the understanding of why you exist at all as a biological species. All of it, and I want you to sit with this, is side effects. Side effects of 3 people trying to quiet an unbearable noise inside their own heads. They couldn't fix the pearls on a stranger's neck, couldn't silence the streetcar 2 blocks away, couldn't tell their brains, stop, this is enough. But they could find the level of reality where absolute order lives and rebuild it, subdue it, make it divisible by 3, sterile, proven to the last decimal place. We call it genius. They called it the only way to survive. History remembers the discoveries, not the pain behind them, and I think that's deeply unjust. OCD chooses the best, enters a brain with open doors, and uses its capacity to see what others cannot, to cause pain with the same intensity it creates. It doesn't ask permission, it simply enters and stays forever. We build museums, hang portraits, print names on banknotes. We take the result and place it in a beautiful frame. The process we quietly cut from the frame because the process is uncomfortable. The process is Tesla, unable to leave room 3327. Hughes, wrapped in paper towels, surrounded by jars he cannot throw away. Darwin, 20 years unable to finish a book. And here's the question we don't want to ask. How many others were there? How many Teslas died as day laborers? How many Hugheses spent their lives within 4 walls because the world outside was unbearable and no one gave them a drafting table? How many Darwins never wrote their book from a fear of error that never released them? History remembers 3. The rest simply suffered. The disease does not guarantee genius. It guarantees only pain. Today, it has a different name. DSM-5. Therapy. Fluoxetine. If Tesla had been born today, he would have been diagnosed in childhood. He would have suffered less. And here's the question that's hard to ask. Would he still have seen the alternating current motor rotating in the air above a park in Budapest? Because I'm convinced the pain and the gift are made of the same material, from the same nervous system, the one with no gatekeeper. Tesla died alone in a room whose number is divisible by 3. Hughes died in a plane, 93 pounds, alone. Darwin dictated corrections to his work until the very end, because stopping was something he never learned. 3 people, 3 languages of 1 disease. The least we can do is know this, that behind every light, there is a man at a sink, washing his hands for the 18th time. I am the observer, and now you observe with me.